Hello and how are you? My name is Muhindo and I welcome you to our 16th lecture of creating a complete inventory management system. We always do 40 minutes. As you can see, our counter has started. So without wasting much time, let's go straight to our to our previous business and resume from where I stopped at. So let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to launch our project in Visual Studio Code. So I'll come to our Visual Studio Code here, and then I go ahead and launch or load Inventor track. So this is Inventor track. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and run it. So I'll open my terminal and do PHP artisan serve. So that is it. So after doing that, I'm going to try and test what we did in the previous lecture. So I'll have to open my Postman. As you can see, Postman is there. This is our Postman. I want to move it this side. This is our Postman. Now if we send in the username and password, email and password, and send, we are able to log in, and you can see here we are able to get the users data and their respective company. So you can see that our Postman is working clearly, and I believe at this level you understand what is meant by the Postman, and you are able to do what to use it. So with that much said, let's go straight into our today's business and get started. So yesterday we completed where someone can create the registration and also the login. Okay, so today we're going to resume from there. So if we come back to our project, we go to our file of the API. So you can see that we finished the endpoint of creating the registration. Okay, the registration as well as login. So now we proceed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch our project. There it is, and here I'm logging as a system admin. Let me log in as a company. Okay, here I'm logging as a company. So this is our project. Okay, so let me put it here nearby me here. Okay, I can put it here. All right, let me put it there. So this is the project. Okay, so let's begin. First things first. So we're going to begin by creating the endpoint of financial period. So after the person has landed on their system, after they have created their account, so we're going to use this this model to guide us on the module that we're going to put. So we shall need an endpoint where the company should be able to create their financial year, where it starts and also where it ends. Okay, and also settings. Okay, so we're going to begin by creating the endpoint where the company should be able to do it to create their financial year. Then after that, we shall go ahead and create an endpoint where the company should register their employees, and then the endpoint where the company should register the stock categories, as well as the stock subcategories, as well as the company's etc. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's begin now the business. So we're going to begin by creating the financial periods. Okay, financial periods. So to be testing, I'm going to get the user that I just created in the login. Okay, I'll come here and get, for example, this user that we've just created. Okay, so let me create just a new user. So I'll come here to registration, and then come here and create a new user, mobile360 at gmail.com, mobile360 at gmail.com, and then we go ahead and register this user. So you can see the user is there, has been created. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one to log in. I'm going to use this one to log into the web. So I'll come here to our web and I log out this company that we're using, and then we use this one, Sombo 360, password 1234, and then log in. So you can see I've successfully logged in, and you can see here my today's sale is at 0, and also the employees are at 0. So this is the user that are going to use to test the API and everything. And you can see I'm logged in as a company administrator. So this is the user that I've just created using the the mobile application. And when I come to the web, you see everything is working very, very well. So now we begin with our very first module. So we want the user to be able to create the financial period. You know, you cannot create anything before you create a financial period. So I want the user to be able to create the financial period using their using their API, okay, or using the API. So what we're going to do here, we're going to create that logic. So the user should be able to create their financial period. All right, so let's begin. Now, I'm going to teach you a technique, so I want you to be very, very, very careful. I'm going to teach you a technique that can help you save a lot of time when you're creating your your mobile applications as well as the APIs. So what every developer does, or what many developers do, you see the logic that we have just done here. The logic that we have just done here for registration, you saw how it took almost the whole 40 minutes or the whole video to create just the registration logic. So it means that that logic is the one that you're going to repeat for the rest, for all the for all the modules. And remember, each module that you're seeing here, for example, this financial period, there are three main things that are going to be done. So the first thing is to create. That is the first main thing that is going to be done there, to create a financial period. The second thing that you're going to need is to update, or what you call edit, okay? And the third thing that you're going to need is to list. So these are the common things that we shall need: a list of all the financial periods, and the list of creating, and the list of updating. So everything in every module that we're going to do, we're going to do these repetitive things. So it would be smart if you can find a way whereby you can create one endpoint that can accommodate these things for all the modules. So for me, I was thinking so much some time back, and I thought that, can I create just one endpoint that can support any class to do these different things? And I think I was successful. I was able to create an endpoint where you can just only be specifying the model that you're referencing to, and then after you do what? And after you use that endpoint for the rest of your models. By doing like that, you'll have learned the power of creating the endpoints with simplicity, or just creating one endpoint that is going to work for the rest of your of your models, and that can really save a lot of your time. So this is what we're going to do. It's what I'm going to teach you how to do. So we're going to begin by creating the endpoint that will accept the creation of all the models that we're going to have in our project. And then after, we're going to create the endpoint that will accept all the edit. Okay, so the way how I always do these two, I always make them to be in the same method, and then this one be in another method. So I'm going to take you step by step and create the endpoint that can support any kind of the creation and updating, and then after we shall go ahead and create the one that will support any kind of listing of any kind of an endpoint that will support any kind listing of any kind of the model. So let's begin. Okay, so that's going to be very powerful, and you're going to do it very slowly to make sure that you don't make any mistake, because it is very critical. So we begin. So I'm going to come here. So I can collapse this one. I'm here on our API. So I'm going to create here a method. So beginning with this one, the one that will accept the creation. So I'm going to create a method here. I'm going to call it maybe, I'm going to create an endpoint. I'm going to call it maybe create, or you can call it maybe update, or you can call it edit, something like that. Or you can call it maybe create dash update, anything that you want. So I'm going to create this endpoint that I'm going to call update. Okay, so as I said, that this endpoint is going to be accepting all kinds of models. So if I want to accept something, or someone, if I want someone to be able to offer me an endpoint, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put here a slash, and then I'm going to put here the condition, and then say maybe a model. So by doing like this, it means that for someone to send data to this endpoint, they must provide us something in the middle here. So I'm going to create a function called maybe my update, something like that, or API update, something like this. So let's go ahead and create this function. So I'll come here to our to our login, and then we're going to put here update. So this time we're going to accept two things. So the first thing, we're going to accept the model, and then the second that we're going to do, we're going to accept the request itself. I think I've already done something like this before. Let me see. All right, just pardon me. So you see how I do it. So here I accept the model. Okay, I accept the model. Okay. Alright, so this is our method. Okay, I come back. So we're going to accept two things. We're going to accept, I mean, it's going to be the maybe update, something like that. You can call it API. Let me call it API, so that if we say stroke API, we mean that we're going to mean that dynamic that dynamic endpoint. Okay, so, and after I'm going to accept here the model. So by doing like this, it means that you're going to accept something, someone send you a record, so they cannot access that thing if they don't do what, they send you anything in this parameter. Then I come here to my update method. So the first thing that you have to accept is the request. Okay, is the request, and then comma, then whatever you want, or whatever that you're going to send in the second value there. So I can call this one model. Okay, so let me come in this method, and we see if we are here so far. So I can put here maybe say good to go, and I save. So after doing that, I'm going to come back here to our postman. So let's go ahead and try to target this one. Okay, so I'm going to come here and create a new folder. Or I can just duplicate this authentication folder. All right, so I'm going to rename this folder and call it financial periods, something like that. All right, so in this financial period, we're going to have, let me first delete this one. We're going to have the first one of create financial period. Okay, so I can just come and call this one financial period dash create. So this is going to be the one for doing what? For creating financial period. All right, so let's come back here. So if you come here to our endpoint, it's just the word API. So it means that this is the main route or the main endpoint, and then stroke anything that we want. So it means that if I come here, I will just begin just by adding that API, then stroke anything that you want. So if you don't put anything here on the API, this word API, and try to send, you'll see that it did not find this thing called API stroke API. Why? Because in our API, the second thing that we're expecting is the model. You can see here, I'm putting here M. You can put anything. You can put, for example, model if you want to. Okay, so it means that I have to put API stroke whatever I want. Okay, so I can put like this, whatever I want. So if I send, now you see that it is able to identify this endpoint. All right. So according to what I'm going to design, okay, so I want someone to be sending me the name of the model exactly as how it is in our project. So for example, right now we are on the financial period creating the financial period. So I'm going to expect someone to send to me here the model. This is how you access the model here. So send this model, for example, let me test it. Okay, let me just do here die and put just the model. So if I come here and try to say stroke whatever I want, so when I save, you see that it is bringing back whatever I sent here. Okay, so if I put like this, whatever I sent there is what it brings back to me. So I want here someone to be sending me the model name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get financial period. Okay, so this is our financial period. You can see that. And then I'm going to come here and put this one as it is. So I'm putting here the name, exact name of the model as how it is designed in this in our project, as it is exactly. So this is just a technique that I'm trying to teach you, maybe that can help you to speed up your projects. Now, if I try to send here, you'll see that it is sending me back the exact name that I've sent to it. So that means that, okay, we can now receive the name of the model. Okay, so I hope that you can see now everything is all right. All right, so another thing that we're going to do is that the authentication. So almost everything that we're going to do here, we must be able to know the user who is logged in. Otherwise, if you're not logged in, then you know that, okay, you're not a user. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be sending the user ID of a person who is logged in through the header. Okay, I'm going to be sending the user ID of a person who is logged in through the headers. Okay, so others use tokens, but for me, I want to begin with you with this in a simple level. So I want someone to be able to send the user ID of someone who is logged in through the header. So I'm going to come here in the header. So we can choose a way how we can call the user ID. For example, I can say maybe logged in user ID. So this is how we can be calling it. So you have to get something that is not very, very common. Okay, so that someone shouldn't be able to identify it. You can call it token, you can call it anything. Okay, so in this header, I want someone to be sending the header, and to be sending us values in the header. I don't want it to put in the body because the body can be accessed anywhere. So I want it to be sent through the headers as logged in user ID. So here I can put the value as 1. So when I send, I want to be getting this. For example, I want to be getting this logged in user here. Okay, so now we shall go back to our project here. We shall go back to our project and go back to our API. Now, if I want to get so if I want to get this header value, we just simply say Let me restart my Copilot, it helps me a lot. I know I did that to me. All right, I'll go ahead and save. I want to save time by not keep on typing things. All right, so we come back here to our endpoint here. No, this is not a project, sorry. So you see, so yeah, that's how you get the header value. Yeah, you just simply say this request and then you say header and then you put there the value that you want to get from the header. So I want someone to be sending to us this header ID. So let me go ahead and do some DD and display it. Okay, so if I go ahead and try to send, sorry, let me use die, not DD. Now if I go ahead and send, you'll see that we are having here the header. So if I put here like this and I send, you'll see the value that we have sent, it is there. So this is going to be sent through the header just for the sake of security. Okay, now so after doing that, we're going to create a method in utils that is going to be responsible of getting for us the person who is doing what, who is logged in, okay, through getting the header. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that function. So I'll go here in utilities, here in our function of utils. So I'm going to create a public static function. So public static function, and I'm going to call it get user. Okay, so it will be accepting request of HTTP, this one. Okay, and I put here R like this. So here I'm going to be calling this function to get someone who is logged in. Okay, so I'll go ahead, I don't want to repeat myself, so I'll go ahead and say utils, and then I say get function, get user, and I pass to it a what, I pass to it the request. Okay, so I can get user here by saying u equals to utils got logged in user. So let me go ahead and, for example, die here and display the person who is doing who is logged in like this. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to go ahead and copy this line of getting the header, and then come to our utils function of getting user. So let's go ahead and say logged in user equals to, I get this user from the header that was sent. So I go ahead and say user equals to, I say user find this value that came in the header, and then I return whatever has come out, return u. So by doing like this, we shall have got the user. So I'll be just calling this function only one time to get the person who is logged in. So let's go ahead and call it here and then try to display the name. I hope you are together here. Okay, So I'll come back now to our API controller and then try to call this function. Now if you try to send now, let me send the request, you'll see I'm able to get the person who is logged in. So if I put 2, I'm able to get this person. All right, so I hope you can see that. So what if I send a value that it does not exist? Let's say maybe a user who doesn't have the ID that exists. You'll see that I'm getting what? An error. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put here just some condition and say if equals to null, or if whatever user that we've got is equal to null, then I can put maybe you are not logged in, okay, or unauthenticated, and unauthenticated and unauthenticated. Okay, so a user who is logged in, unauthenticated. So here I go ahead and get the user through the header, and then here I check if it is not found, I die with unauthenticated. So if I come here, you'll see unauthenticated. So the user is not logged in. Okay, so if I put a correct value, for example 1, you'll see the person's name is there. So now how are you going to go log in now? The user, so I'll come here and click on the login, and then I log in this user using the provided password and the username. So you can see the ID of this user is 9. So the ID of this user is 9. So what you're going to do, we are going to make this 9 a variable. So we substitute it everywhere we need the ID of a user. So when you want to change a user, we just change that variable. So let's go to the environment, come to the local environment, and then put here, for example, maybe user underscore ID, and then the value is going to be 9. This is the user that we want to. So if we want to change the user, let's say maybe we want to test another user, you just simply come and change this 9, and then you should be able to update the whole system. So I'll get the name of this variable and come back to our collection and come back here to login. So here where there is a logged in user ID, I'll just go ahead and remove this and put the user ID. So it will be substituted there as 9. So if I go ahead and click on here, you'll see I'm getting the person who is logged in right now, or who I were considering to be logged in as this person. So this is the header of the create. Okay, so in the header that you're submitting, you must submit the what? A create. All right, so now let's go ahead and go back to the body now. Okay, now if you try to click here, you'll see that everything is all right. So let's go back to our API. So here I first get the person who is logged in. I check if the user ID is not there. I just say authorize and I stop here. I send back the error. Otherwise, I display their name. All right, so that is how we shall be getting someone who is logged in for the API for now. However, there's other better ways, but for now I can just get started with that so I can understand the concepts. All right, so now the next thing that we're going to do is to do what? To get the model. Okay, so to get the model, remember this model is here. This is the model name that you're getting here. So if I want to access it, I just simply say, you see, model equals to like this. So you'll be able to do what? To get the model. So I'll go ahead, for example, if I want to create a new record, I just simply say model, for example, maybe new record equals to new and then model. So by doing like this, it will be able to call this one as a what? As a class. Okay, and then you can go ahead and do everything that you want. All right, so we proceed. So this is how we shall be getting the what? The models. Okay, this is how we shall be getting the model. So it means that our model is going to be dynamic. I hope you're getting the point. Everything that we sent here as the second parameter, okay, let's say that we want to work with the user. Everything that we sent here in the second parameter, we'd go ahead and do what? It will go ahead and substitute this one automatically. At the end of the day, we shall not need to create specific endpoints like, okay, this one is for the what, for the user, for the what. Since this one will automatically access the what? The model. I hope you're getting that. All right, so that is very nice. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do now is to get the values, okay, the values of the table of this model. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is to get the values of the table of this model, because we are going to create a dynamic SQL. I mean, we're going to create a dynamic insertion of data. So what we're going to do, it means that before we even try to insert data, someone can send even some garbage in the post. So it will be good that we know the columns of this particular model that has been sent at this particular time. Okay, so if we know the columns of that model, what does it mean? It means it will help us not to do what? Not to allow unnecessary inputs or unnecessary what? Unnecessary values in the what? In the table, and hence reducing what? The errors. So that's what we're going to do right now to get the tables of, to get the values or the columns of the table in this what? In this particular what? In this particular table. All right. So after doing this, so if you want to get the table name in Laravel of a certain model, you just simply say, for example, I can say table equals to, I go ahead and say new, and then I open bracket and say this new model, and then I say get table. So by doing like this, it will be able to get for me that table. So let me go ahead and do here, for example, die, and then we'll see that I'll be able to get the table name. Okay, so just simply we should have created the record here, like the object. We just simply say new. All right, we can go ahead and create the object. For example, let's go ahead and create the object. So the object that I'll be using, for example, we can say object equals to new, and then we go ahead and say model, something like this, equals to new model. Object equals to new, and then you say model, like this. So by doing like this, to be able to do what? To create for us the object. So now if you need to get the table name, you just simply say table name equals table, or you can say maybe table name equals to object, and then you say get name. That's how you get the name of the table of that particular model in Laravel. So if I come and refresh here, you'll see the table name is financial period. So you can see that everything is now clean. I don't know how I can increase the font. I see as if this thing is very, very tiny. How can I increase the font? Is it here? All right, I hope you can see. So you see, we are able to get the table. Let's try another model. For example, user model. Just pass here user, and it should be like the same name how it is in the database. So in you send, you see admin user. This is the table. So you see like everything that we are sending that is valid. For example, let's say stock item. Okay, so I just simply put here stock item, and I send. You see the right what stock item is there. You see everything is okay. So let me go ahead and put financial period. You see we have the name of financial periods, or the table where financial period is fetching records. So after doing that, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going now to get the columns of what? Of that financial period, I mean of that table. So to get the table, you just simply write. So after getting the table name, so to get the columns, I can just simply say maybe columns, okay, equals to, then write this schema like this, schema, and it should be coming from facades, I think. It should be coming from facades, this one here. Let me show you. Make sure that your schema is coming from this one, okay, package, support package, that one. And then you say get column list, and then you pass here the table name. So by doing like this, it will be able to get the columns in that in that table. So if I, for example, here I send back maybe I say utils, and then say success, I just pass the columns table. You see, I just pass the columns table. Now if you come here and send the table of the columns, so you can see here we have successfully accessed all the tables. I mean all the names in the, sorry, we have successfully accessed all the names in that particular table. All right, so everything is okay. So we have now the names. Now the next that we're going to do is now to get the data that has been sent to us. Okay, is to get the data that has been sent to us. So the data will be sent to us through forms, of course, like the way you're seeing this form. So what we're going to do, we are going to get the names in that form. All right, so to get the names in the form, of course, we can use post, since this is sending them through post. So I'm going to get them through post super global variable. So I can say data equals to, and then I say, I think, let me see, let's see this one, error, and then say all. Let's go ahead and return back here and see if it has got the data. So I go ahead and try to send. You'll see that it has got the data. So it gets the key and the value, the key and the value, the key and the value. So that's the data that we're just sending for now. Okay, so yeah, that is it. I hope you can see that. So we are successfully get the key and the value. So now after, we are going now to create now the object. So it means that we're going to loop through this data and initialize the object. So we have the columns, we have the data that is submitted. So let's go ahead, and then we have the object that has been created. So let's go ahead and loop through this. Okay, so we're going to say for each data, so you put here the key. So you have here the key and the value. Let me try to, so this is the key is this one, and then this is the value. So you have the key and the value. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to go ahead and check if the key is not in the array. If the key is not in the array of the columns, or the columns of the table, okay, these columns, I'll go ahead and continue. So I'll skip it. I'll just simply write continue in this loop like this. So it will skip that one. So we may have also some columns that we don't need to create, I mean to update. Okay, so I can call this one, for example, what we call except. Okay, so for example, I may not need to update the ID, I may not need to update the created art, I may not need to update, for example, I may not need to tamper with the updated art. Okay, so something like that. So if I want to not tamper with this one, so I'm creating here an empty array, an array called except, and then I put there things that I don't need to do what to tamper with. So I'll also go ahead and check if the key is not in the except array, it should also be skipped. So if something passes these two roadblocks, the first one is checks if it is not in array of the columns. So if it is not in the columns that if it's not in the columns, in the columns of the table, okay, these are the columns of the table, then it should be skipped. It means that it is something that we don't expect in our tables. The second thing, if it is not in the except array, such as created that, it should also be skipped. If it is in the except array, it should also be skipped. Then after, the remaining one, it should be added to the data or to the object. So can you see here what I'm doing? Time is up. All right. So here what I'm doing. So if the key is passes these two, the key, I go ahead and say object, and remember I put here $sign. $sign and then the key. So this means that this key is going to be substituted here. So instead of saying something like this name, okay, it's going to be substituted there as the what, as the value, and then I store the value in that object. So by doing like this, we shall have done what? We shall have created the object. Then after, I'll go ahead and do what? And save this object. Okay, let's go ahead and now save this object. So we try. So after doing this loop, so go ahead and do it and try. So we say try and say save. So if it fails, we catch and display the error. Okay. So if it fails, it will fail from here and display the error. All right. So let's go ahead and say maybe new object equals to. Then we go ahead and find that particular object. We go ahead and find it. Okay. So we check if it was successfully created, or we can just send it back like that if it skips this. Okay, then we go ahead and send success, and then we pass the new object here and also say created successfully, like this. Okay, so you can see that like that we shall have created our object successfully. All right, now let's go ahead and test this and see if it works. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our table. Okay, and then go to our what? To our inverter track, and then go to our table of what? Of financial periods, and then just copy this table columns. These are the records that we need to financial period. All right, so let's go ahead and put this data in our what? In our postman. So this is our postman. Can minimize this one here. So let's go ahead and put the data in our postman. So if I want to edit in bulk, I can just simply click here. So this one will switch edit in bulk, edit in values, edit in bulk, edit in values. This one here, you can see it is here. You can even scroll and get hidden, but if you scroll down, you'll see it here. So let me edit in bulk, and I remove all these. Okay, so I paste these columns names here. Okay, I paste them here. I can zoom so you can see things clearly. So these are the columns names. All right, so we begin. So I go ahead, ID, I don't need it, so I can delete it. Created art, I don't need it, I can delete it. Updated art, I don't need it, I can delete it. Okay, so company ID. So company ID, I think this one is created automatically in the creating. So let me come here to financial period. So financial period, so when you're creating, we don't even send the company ID. Okay, so but it will be good to get the company ID from the user. So yeah, so you see, company ID is important. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So company ID, we are going to need it. All right, so let's go ahead and fix that. So when I save, do press Ctrl and S so you can put here for you the equal signs. So let us go ahead. We shall also need to submit the company ID in this case. All right, so let's go ahead and get the company ID. So I'll come here to our collection, and then come here to login, and then we'll see the company ID. It is number 6. So let's go ahead and add this one into variables, because it's something that is going to also keep changing. So we'll come here to environment, and then come to what? To our inverter track local, and then add one more thing here, company ID variable, company ID as a variable. All right, and then here we saw the company ID for this company is number 6. So let's go ahead and substitute this company ID from the other side. So I'll come here, come to create. I can switch back this to the key like this. So here where there is company ID like this, I put company ID, so it should be substituted. I hope you're together. All right, so the name of the year, so I can say maybe 2024-2025. That's the name of the financial year. The start date, so you have to write the correct standard start date. So I think you can begin with the year 2024, and then you say January, and then you say 1st, and then it will end 2024 December on 12th, okay, 01. I mean maybe 31st. I think that is a valid. I hope that is valid date structure. So we go ahead and click on status. We can make it active. All right. Description 2024 year. All right. Total what? Total investment. This one is optional, so you can remove it. And total sales, I can remove it. And then total profit, I can remove it. Total expense, I can remove it. So I think these are the fields that I need to do what to create a financial year. So let's go ahead and submit. I hope you can see that. Okay. So let's go ahead and submit. When I click on submit, boom, you see everything was correct. So the response, you see the response code is 1, and then the ID is 3, and then the company ID is okay. This is the data of the whatever, and then you can see the message is created successfully. So that is very nice. That shows that we have successfully created the method. I mean the company. I mean the financial year. You see, that was success. So if you try to send again, of course, you'll get the error. There is an active what? An active financial. First day, activate it. So that is very, very nice, and that is very, very powerful. So make sure that you watch the video very carefully and make sure that you understand this concept, because this concept is very, very powerful in a way that you create only one one endpoint that is going to work for almost everything. That's going to work for almost everything, for all the models. So once you finish this endpoint, it means that you have almost finished your API. Okay, so make sure that you learn this technique. It is my technique. I invented it myself, and it is really helping me. However, you can see how you can improve it on your own. All right. That's it for this lecture. Let's meet in the next lecture, where we are going to work now with the edit. Now we can see that at least the creation is done. Now the next lecture is where we're going to work with the what? With the edit. So make sure that you don't miss. See you there. I want to export as hello well. And how are you? My name is Muhindo, and I welcome you to our Stinix 16. All right, we are going to start our second lecture. Hello, and how are you? My name is Muhindo, and I welcome you to our 17th lecture of creating a complete inventory management system with its respective mobile application. We always do 40 minutes, and you can see our timer has started. So without wasting a minute, let's go straight into our today's business. So there we are. In the previous lecture, we managed to create a powerful logic of creating an API dynamically, where you just send the endpoint and then they automatically creates for you that record. Okay, so in this lecture, I hope you were able to understand what we did in the previous lecture. So in this lecture, we are now going to work with the edit logic. We're going to work with with the edit logic. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so I'll go ahead and just duplicate this one since they're going to look the same. So I'll come here to environment, to our model, and then I just duplicate this one, and then come here. So it's going to duplicate almost everything, and then just come here and just put edit. So okay, so what we're going to do right now is to do the logic of edit. So on the edit, it is almost going to be the same, okay, but the only difference here, when you're editing, I want us to be sending the ID, okay, of that particular item that we want to edit. So that's what I want us to do. So you should be sending the ID of the item that you're editing. All right, so here at last, so this is the edit logic. So here at last, I want to be sending the ID. So for example, I send 1. That is the first financial year. All right, let's see what we got here at the response. So the ID of, okay, let's say that you're creating all right, I don't even remember it. Okay, let's say, okay, let's just send 1 as the ID of the financial period that you're doing that you're going to create. So if you come here to our database, you've come here to financial period, you'll see that financial period is supposed to be there, but I'm not seeing it. All right, let's see. So it is here with the company ID number 6. So why this one not seeing their financial period? So if you come here to company profile, oh, this is company number 7. Okay, so we did a mistake. So this is company number 7. So come here to environment and update. So company, come to environment and update. So this is company number 7. Yeah, I think that is very important. All right, yeah, I just mismatched the companies. All right, so let's go ahead and try to create. I come here back to create and I try to send. So you can see it has created successfully. So if you come here to, you'll see that they now have a financial year. So if I come here to edit, I'll be able to see this financial year. Okay, so now you see this financial year, its ID is 4. So if we want to update it, I'm going to create here another endpoint which is called edit, okay, and it's going to accept the ID. Okay, so the ID is going to be important there. All right, so there we go. Okay, so I'll be specifying the ID. So if it is create, I'll not be specifying the ID, something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this now. So I'm just going to use the same endpoint. I'm just going to change the logic. All right, so here where there is new, okay, so instead of creating new, let me find the object if it has this ID. Okay, so I say object equals to the model, so this model find ID. So I check if it is null. If it is null, that's when I'll go ahead and do what, and create a new one like this. So unless it is null, then I'll go ahead and create a new one. So that is how we can check that, okay, if something is null, then create new one. So if it is not null, so you see here I'm finding the product with that particular ID. So if it is not null, it goes ahead and create a new one. If it is null, if it is null, it goes ahead and create a new one. If it is not null, then it means that everything that we're going to do, it's going just to be updating the existing one. I hope you can see that. If it is null, I create a new one. If it is not null, then it means that it's going to skip this one. And then that you're going to do what? To do the whole logic and even updating its keys. Alright? So maybe here, I may need to do something called, I may need a variable called task. Okay, maybe I can say is edit. So by default, it is editing. Okay? So it is edit. Otherwise, if it is not edit, if it is null, then it means that it is what? It is not editing, it is creating. Alright? It is creating like this. So you can see that. So everything is going to remain the same. Everything is going to remain the same. Laravel has already solved that problem for us. So everything is the same here. Now, here, instead of saying is created successfully, I can just simply put if is edit, I can say updated successfully. If it is creating, I can say created successfully, like this. So there we shall be able to know, okay, it was successfully edited or it was successfully created. So you can watch this method. It is a very powerful method. You can watch it again and again and make sure that you understand. Okay? Once you understand it, it means that you are going to be able to create a powerful dynamic API. So that's it. I think that's it. So if it is edit, we'll try to find something that has an ID that has been set. If it is not there, then create a new one. So let's go ahead and test this. So I'll go to a postman. So I'll go to a postman. Sorry about that. I'll go to a postman here, and you see, so the unique part about editing is that we are sending the ID. Okay, so I try to send the ID, so you'll see the response updated successfully. So that is so nice. Let me put the message on top here. The message should always be on top. For example, maybe utils. So I'll come here to the success response. Let me put the message come first after the code, and also here message come first after the code. All right, so let's try to send. Hope you can see that. Can you see that? Updated successfully. So let's say maybe let's try to really change something. So let's say that maybe the year will end in 2026. I'll come here and change in 2026. Okay, I just changed, I send, updated successfully. So if I come here and refresh, you'll see it has changed 2026. That is very, very powerful thing. That is very powerful, trust me. All right, so that's beautiful, isn't it? It is beautiful. All right, so that's all about creating. Okay, so let's work with the listing. Okay, so let's work with the simple listing. All right. Okay, so let's work with the list. Now we're finished like this logic of creating. Now you want to get a list of your financial years. Okay, so I'll just duplicate. Okay, let me duplicate and then we shall change things. So when I duplicate, of course, it comes with the headers and the rest, so make sure that everything is there. So I'll do the same thing. So here I'm just going to change here the word to list, and then I'll change the method to get. Okay, so that's the list method. Then I can remove this body data. When you're listing, you don't need like body, I mean something like that. I can remove the body. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what you've got. Okay, let's go ahead and see what you've got. Let's go ahead and see what you've got. All right. All right, so list. So we come back to our API. So everything is the same, but only this one will only listen to what? To get. So I just change only the get method. I mean the method to get. So I can change here maybe to my update to my list. Get something like this. Then I go to this method. This one, I collapse it, press enter. I'm going to select it all, beginning from here up to here. Then I copy it, come on top, okay, and I paste it. So you have two methods of updating that. My update. So I just come and change this one from my update to list. Something like this. So just going to create a simple list method. However, you can do what? You can create complex things, but for me, I'm just going to make a simple one. Only a simple one. However, trust me, you can make more powerful thing than this one. Okay, you can make something that is more powerful than this one. All right, so what we're going to do here, so the thing is we're going to get the data. So it is having same request and the model, and then it gets the user and check if the user is logged in, and then after it gets the model, and then these others is where everything is going to change. Okay, let's change up to here. So this is all what we need. All right, so let's go ahead. For example, we may say that I'm trying to think that almost everything here is protected. Almost everything is private. Okay, so what if we put on everything, we put what? Where company ID is, something like that. I think that will be helpful. However, you can think of better way. Okay, so in case maybe you want to send a query, you can send it through the link and then also pass it directly to what? To the database. Okay. So but you see, since our mobile app, almost everything that we've been doing here, it has a what? It has a company ID. So let's go ahead and make sure that everything that we're sending back is having a company ID. So I can just simply say data equals to the model where, so I put where company ID, I get the person who is logged in and get his company ID. All right, and then I just return util success and set data like this, something like that. I think that's it. So I can say the success listed successfully. So I think that's it. All right, so let's go ahead and try this. I hope you can see that. I hope you can see that. Hope you can see that and you can understand what it is. Only maybe some data can become too much, so maybe I can put maybe limit maybe 1,000 records. Let's say, okay, limit is going to be 10,000 records. So that's maybe the capacity of our application. Maybe 10,000 records, maybe 100,000 records. If you have more than 100,000 records, then you should pay for the premium. All right, you can do something like that. Okay. You can as well pass queries. You can as well pass the queries and pass them here and add them on this where. Yeah, you can as well do that. But for now, let's keep it simple like this. I don't want to confuse you more. But when you proceed to complex things, you'll need even to pass the queries, all that thing, all those kind of things. But for now, let's keep this one like this. Okay, so here it just gets to you, for you, with this limit. All right, let's go ahead and try to get this list. So when I come here, I change the method to get. Okay, I remove this bulk data. I remove just the form. I don't need it. I just need only the header of a person who is logged in. And I try to send. Boom. Can you see? Listed successfully. So can you see? It was able to get for us only our financial year. Our financial year only. It did not bring other things. So that is very, very nice. Okay? That is very, very nice. And very, very powerful. So it means that we can just specify what we want here, and then it will send a request, and then it do for us whatever I want and send it back to us. That is very powerful, isn't it? It is powerful. That is very, very powerful. I hope you can see that. So if you want also maybe everything that's something that is being created, it is locked to that company, you can just simply use here. You get this user and just put company ID to that thing that is being created in this module. Okay, and just maintain that. All right, so that's it. So it means that you can create, you can edit, you can, for example, let's come here to create. So if I come and say create, you'll see it has already, we already have an active financial year. So I'm going to come here to edit, and I'm going to change this. Okay, edit, and I come here to the form. Okay, where there is active, I'm just going to put inactive, something like that. So I'm deactivating this here using the API. Submit, because its ID is 4, so make sure it is updating. Submit, so updated successfully, and you can see there is now inactive. And then if I come here to create, I submit, let's say maybe this one is 2023, 2020 what? 2024. You see, 2023, 2024. I mean, say, yeah, 2023, 2024, and maybe it starts 2023 and it ends 2024. I mean, 2023 December. I try to submit. You'll see, create successfully, and then it's ID number 5. So it means that our API can be able to do what? To change something. All right. Now, if you come here to get, so we should expect 2 years. Submit. You'll see here we're getting, sorry. Send. Sorry, something's not right. So let's go ahead. For your company ID equals the user's company ID. All right. So let's go to, yes, we're supposed to get at least 2 years. What could be wrong? So company ID number 6. Come here and see company ID number 7. So there is something not right. So I think in the headers, the header, I have to save. Header is, okay. So you see there's a problem. I think we need just to lock this one here. Let's lock this one. That everything that is going to be passing through this dynamic, its company ID will always be of a user who is doing what? Who is logged in. So after the loop and everything, we make sure that the company ID is of the person who is logged in. I think that one will help that confuse that we're trying to create. All right, let's go ahead and submit. You see, we have financial. So let's go ahead and click on edit. So let's get this ID. Okay, so let's come here. So here they have company, I mean the financial year called 3. So I'll come and edit this one. Okay, so I'll just get number 3, and then I come here and I put inactive. I make it inactive, so I've deactivated it. I come here and create, send. See, has been created successfully. So if I come here and send a request, you see I now have 2 financial years. You see, I now have 2 financial years. So this one will help us not to do that and that with the companies. All right, so that is very nice. That is very nice. So that is it, and that's it. We have finished the creating, the updating, and the listing. So we can proceed to another thing. Let's proceed now to the what? All right, let's proceed now to another module. Okay, so we're finished. We have finished the financial period. Then we go to employees module. Okay, let's go to employees module. All right, so I'll just simply duplicate this financial period. So you're creating now the API. Okay, you to go to employees module. So make sure that you understand everything here and make sure that everything is working perfectly. Don't give up before you. You can even pause the video and copy and paste. You see, let me move the thing slowly. You can copy that. Go ahead and copy this. Go ahead and copy this. Make sure that it's working if it is not working. And this is for my list. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and proceed to financial, to employees. Employees. So just simply go ahead and duplicate this. So I'll come here and edit this one, rename. This one is called employees. So I'll come here and rename it as employees. So it's a section of employees. All right, so begin with employees creation. So you know, employees is a what? Is a user model. So I just simply put here the user. So employees, they are using what? The user model. So you see, the employee controller, we are using the user model. So I'll just simply come here and put user like this. All right, so we are just testing now. We are creating as we're testing. So come here to edit. Now imagine that you're having like so many things and you have to create API for each. Right, come here to the inventory track. Come to what? To admin users. I think that's where we're having our table, admin users. So I'm just going to copy all. I'm just going to copy all the names here. I press here and I be like selecting. Okay, so I select all the names in the table, the table columns. Then I come to employees here where there is create. Just come here to where there is so I have to change here the name to what? To employees create. Okay, come here and just I can remove this company ID because it's being fetched from the other side. Come here to bulk, select all and paste there my own. Okay, so click save, Ctrl S in case you want to have this structure. Okay, so let's now see things that we need about the employee. So delete this username. Okay, so here username. I can say maybe employee1 and then password 4321 maybe, and then sorry, we don't need username. I think we need email. Okay, let's put username and okay, right, then password 4321, name employee. Me, I like doing it in bulk. Whoever can use also the other side. Employee 1. Avatar, we don't need that, I remove it. Remember token, we don't need it, I remove it. Create that, we don't need it, I remove it. Audition, I don't need it, I remove. Company ID, we don't need it, it will be done from the other side. First name, employee, and then user last name 1. Phone number And then phone number 2, we can leave that one. Address, sex, then DOB, status active. Okay, I hope you can see that. So that is all right, that is all right. And then maybe you can put email. I think email can be employee1@gmail.com. all right, so that's it for creating an employee. All right, let's go ahead and submit. So you can click here to preview things properly. Let's go ahead and submit and see if it really submits. Submit. You see, powerful. It has been what? It has been submitted successfully. So if we come here to the dashboard and refresh. Sorry, this is the administrator's dashboard, super admin dashboard. Let me come to the dashboard of this company. It is this one here. Put it nearby. So if I come and you see, they had only one employee, that is the user itself. So if we come and refresh here, oh, he's not there. So I have to fix that. Okay, who is this user, by the way? We are logged in using a wrong user. Okay, is here when we are creating it, when we're creating the thing, we are using a wrong user. So I've been mismatching these ones. So let me log in this one, about 360. Come here to login. So put the email. Okay, I think we have been mismatching. So here I have to log out and I log in like this one. Okay. Come to employees. There's still one. All right, so I have to come to login. So there it is. Okay, so when I click on login, you'll see my ID is number 9. So let's come to environment. This is the mistake that we've been doing. Okay, ID is number 9. All right, that's okay. Logged in user ID. Okay, so let's come here to employees, create. Come here to header, of course, number 9. Right, then that's not right because we're supposed to have these employees listed here. All right, let's go ahead and see the last user who was created and see the ID. So this is why we are testing to see if there's any error. All right, so employee 1, okay, he belongs to which company? He belongs to company number 6. Why is this 6 there? Why is this 6 there? Sorry, company ID number 6, employee 1, and when you log in here, the company ID for this is number 6, of course, number 6. All right, now let's try and see. Now when you logged in here, so everything is all right now. Okay, so coming at company, be like editing it. Here it is showing that company is number 7. So what is not right here? Let's go ahead and see from the users, Mobilehood 360. His company is number 7. Okay, his company is number 7. I think we're having someone who has our username. I think that's the problem. Okay, I have seen the problem. You see here when you're logging in, you're not putting mobile 360. I'm logging in another person. Yep. So send. I think this is now the right person. So I'll just go ahead and copy this user ID number 10, you see, and then come and do what, and then come and put it here under environment, under user IDs, and then I put here user ID number 10. We no longer need this variable of company, since we have accepted that we shall be using it from the other side. All right, so you see, I think that's it. So I save, Ctrl S. Now let's go ahead and create another employee. So here come to employee create. I just send the same employee. So you'll see that the duplicate of employees. Okay, so I'll have to come here and change the email. So company ID number 2. And now go ahead and send. Let's see, created successfully. So if we come here and refresh, come here to employees, you'll see now he has 2 employees. He has 2 employees. That is very nice. So if I come here again and try to change employee number 3, send, come and refresh on the dashboard, 3 employees. That is very nice. So it means that our API can send data to the what? To the server. All right, so that is great. We proceed to edit. So edit, I'll just simply copy. I can just simply duplicate this. So I can just delete this one and just duplicate this create. We know how edit works. Duplicate, we duplicate this create. Okay, and just rename this one from create copy to edit. So the only difference, so the form will remain the same. The only difference is this one will have a what? An ID. ID equals, for example, can get the employee, this first one, which has ID number 10. I can just simply say ID is number 10. All right, so now if go ahead and I send, for example, let's go to this very last one, ID number 14. So I go ahead and send ID number 14. So now I have to specify the ID for the last value. So if I send, you see that updated successfully. Let's try to change his name. So I can say maybe employee 4. Okay, I go ahead and send, updated successfully. If I come here and refresh, you'll see 4 has changed. So that is the power that you need. That's great. All right, let's go with listing. They are boring, but they are worth it. Let's go on listing. So the list here, we shall just change this one from financial period to user. I think that's all for it. We don't need to edit. So click send. You'll see listed successfully, and we're having all the users. Okay, all the users have come. You can collapse this one. Okay, sorry, you can collapse this one, you can collapse this one, you can collapse this one. So you can see all the users have come. All right, that is so nice. All right, we proceed. So we have finished create, we have finished edit, we have finished list. That's all you need about creating what? Creating the API for the employees. We proceed to the next API, to the next module. The next module is gonna be categories. So categories. Okay, so you're just going to duplicate this one, duplicate it, come here, get stock categories, stock categories like this. So that is the name of our what? Of our module. All right, so stock categories create. So we'll go ahead and create the store category what? Class name. Okay, stock category, which is this one here. Copy that, come and paste here. Okay, now when I click on send, create, create, right? So I just come here to body and then click on bulk here. Bulk edit, I can collapse, I can scroll this one down here. Alright, so this bulk edit. So I can delete everything there. Then we go to our table of stock categories. Stock categories, this one here. I'll just go ahead and copy all its what? All its I'll go ahead and copy all its column names, okay, and then come here in bulk edit and I paste them here. Okay, so I remove these other garbage things, then press Ctrl S in order to save them. So created art, I can remove it. Updated art, I can remove it. Company, I can remove it. Okay, so store category, name, test, name, description, some description, some status, status, active, and image, I can leave it as empty for now. Alright, this image, you're going to come back for it. There's another wall of images. Let's leave this one for now. We'll watch it in the next lecture, how to work with images uploading using API. Alright, let me just remove it for now. That is another interesting part. Buying price, I say maybe. Okay, this one is automatic. So this is what we need. Okay, so if we come here to this user and click on store categories, his store categories is empty. So let's go ahead and submit. So let's just first edit this one. So maybe since it is under store categories, you can leave it as create. So store category, under it there's create, then I'm going to put here edit and then update, something like that. So everything is okay. Submit. So we're expecting success, created successfully. Come here and refresh, you'll see store category has been created successfully. That is beautiful. All right, we just come here to edit one. So I'll just change this name. I remove that employees, I just put edit. So the edit, only the difference is, so I'll just simply come and copy this bulk data because I need it. Copy it, come here to edit, and then come here to can change this data to bulk data, paste that one. So I can say maybe I put a full stop there to make sure that it's working, and then after I go ahead and do what? And add the ID. Okay, ID like this. So let's see, ID for this one is 4. So I'll just simply put here 4. Let's go ahead and send. Perfect. Successfully. So what did we change? We just added the full stop at the end of the name. So if I come and refresh, you'll see. Did it work? Okay, updated successfully. Oh my god, this is user, not the store category. So I'll just come and copy this endpoint. Come into where there is edit and then put endpoint store category. So try to send. Updated successfully. Come and refresh here. Everything is all right. Okay, so we go to the list. Just copy that and then come and put here list. Submit. You'll see listed successfully. Those are the store categories. So let's try to create here a second one. Stock text category maybe 2. Save, create, send. Everything is okay. Come here to list. You'll see that you're having. Let's create another one and see. come here to list of, I have to change the word. Store category. Be careful with that. So I'll come and change this one to this one, to store category, and then change this one. Let me just change the word to list. Submit. We are able to see 3 subcategories that we've just created. 3 categories. Come and refresh here. Yeah, there are 3. So that is the beauty. All right, so yeah, that's it. In the next lecture, we shall begin by finalizing the remaining endpoints. So you see how it has made our work very, very easy. Otherwise, we would have done the same logic again and again and again and again and again. But just